You are all aware of what's going on since we have been talking about this issue for some time at length. The issue being the $600 extra in unemployment insurance that is expiring today, as Senate is not even at the Hill. Senate is not even at the Capitol right now. A lot of senators are not even here because they checked out, because they don't care. They make $174,000 in their annual salary with your money, so they can tell you that you don't deserve the $600 extra. I mean, and they will pit actual working class essential workers against those who have been unemployed to the tune of 40 million at this stage, because that's how violently ruthless they are. Saw a stat today that said there are 5 unemployed people per one job opening. That makes sense, considering that a lot of businesses have not. A lot of businesses have reopened too soon, which ended up destroying those businesses. A lot of people are devastated still by this pandemic. Some businesses will never reopen again. The American economy is shrinking. Democrats and GOP lash out as stimulus package talks turn sour. 600 unemployment boost is ending. Here's Schumer.
The greatest health crisis in 100 years. The private sector cannot solve this problem. And that's one of the reasons you guys are all tied in a knot. Because you must have the government get involved. You don't want to do that.
This is communism, folks. Can you imagine a world in which the Republican Party is so cruel, so vulturous in their open animosity against the working class that they make Chuck Schumer correct in the marketplace of ideas? Truly devastating. It gives me no pleasure to report this, but Chuck Schumer is absolutely correct in this take. All right. The discussions over another stimulus package have turned testy Friday as Democrats and Republicans each blamed the other for their inability to come to an agreement just hours before a 600 weekly unemployment benefit for Americans officially ends. Now, there was a closed-door meeting between Nancy Pelosi had a closed-door meeting last night at the Hill, I believe, around 8 p.m., and it seems like that conversation did not end in a productive capacity. So Eid Mubarak to everyone. American politicians do not care about you. So I just wanted to start that off with some obvious news. Republicans have waited for months, obviously, before attempting to take up another emergency package, and Nancy Pelosi is correct to point it out. Throughout this entire process, Democrats have conceded to some of the worst elements of Republicans. Democrats themselves have even put forward ridiculous measures. Some Democrats have also put forward really good measures that have, of course, immediately been yeeted into the sky as though it never existed, like a unconditional $2,000 UBI given to every single American during the duration of this crisis. That would have been incredible. Of course, we did not do that. That would have been absolutely devastating. That would have been communism. So get ready for some mass evictions. Very cool. Now, this problem currently is going to backfire. I mean, the Republicans' willingness to be vulturous, immoral, cancerous sores on American society because of their ridiculously violent and cruel ideology is so insane that it will end up hurting Republicans. And I don't mean Republican voters, because they clearly don't care about Republican voters. I mean Republican politicians. Now, what I mean by that is mass evictions are incoming right now as the moratorium ends, and landlords all around the country are rushing over to the courthouse so they can start kicking out those goddamn peasants from their apartment buildings, complexes that these people have been staying in for free because they do not have a fear of getting evicted. I mean, wow, how disgusting. Akin to a parasite, I would say, to stay in a dwelling for free because you would die if you weren't in that dwelling, especially at a time when there's a global pandemic that requires you to shelter at home. I mean, ridiculous. So yeah, pretty cool that this is our country. But the evictions not only are ridiculous from the point of cruelty, they're also terrible politically, because when you look at the evictions, when you look at state by state, what percentage of renters are slated to be evicted, There is like 8 Republican states on there that are straight the fuck up near 50%. Can you imagine yeeting nearly 50% in red states, 50% of renters in red states? Now, all of those people aren't going to be Democrats. A lot of them are going to be Republicans. What do you think is going to happen when both Republicans, no matter how fucking stupid they are, beyond like the 20% of like psychotic Republicans who believe coronavirus is fake and Donald Trump is, you know, the great leader or whatever, beyond those guys, and even those guys personally will probably have a frustration with getting evicted, right? What do you think is going to happen? You are radicalizing people. Republicans and Democrats by way of concession, but mostly Republicans are actually accelerating capitalism to a final stage by behaving this way. I do not understand how you cannot see this. I don't know how cucked Americans are, but time will tell if they truly do get frustrated and truly do fight back, because the contradictions have gotten to an untenable point. The tension has gotten to a point where it will inevitably snap. We'll see what happens. I mean, Americans are very cucked, so we'll see what happens, but completely insane. Completely insane to just to dangle people's lives in front of them as a mere political talking point in the middle of a global pandemic with an election coming up. Now, I'm not the only one who is seeing the writing on the wall. The White House is also seeing the writing on the wall. Turns out the White House is also not very happy with what's going on. Trump has told Democrats to get serious about stimulus negotiations, and then he pleaded with Dems to agree to extend $600 a week employment boost 24 hours before it expired. Now has said, you know, you guys got to get serious about this. I don't know why we are not doing a temporary extension on the $600 a week program. I don't know. I don't know how we are not at this stage saying we definitely need to extend this program. Like, I did not think that Republicans would be so ideologically consistent that they would literally hurt themselves politically in this way. It's wild to me. Like, they are willing to harm themselves in an effort to, I guess, own the libs, but I don't even know. Why on earth would there be a temporary increase? Why would unemployed people need more money now than a year ago? Unemployed people need more money always. The reality is that there are 40 million of them, okay, at any given stage, and that is just a demonstration that unemployment on its own has not been effective and has been a crippled program that doesn't even help Americans across the board. If you're on unemployment, you're fucked. It's supposed to be temporary. Right now, it's no longer temporary. Right now, we're in a holding pattern. We don't know how long this is going to continue. Unemployment stimulus increases is a demonstration that Republicans and Democrats both truly understand in their heart of hearts that the American consumer force will not exist and devastate the global economy even further with the current measly or the measly payments that they got prior to the coronavirus pandemic. Do you understand? Just like this is yet another demonstration that wages are insanely low. If unemployment plus 600 a week is more than what people are earning right now at their jobs, that means that those people need to get more. So don't be a fool. Don't be a mark. Don't be a rube. And don't get caught up in the infighting amongst the working class by saying, how are these people getting government cheese sitting around on their asses when I am an essential worker and I'm not getting paid as much as they are? That's insane. Instead, demand more pay and also hazard pay on top of everything else, which of course went on for what, like a week and a half? Like, how long did hazard pay even happen? I feel like a lot of people are owed wages, stolen wages on top of that. Like, some people reported not even getting their hazard pay that they were supposed to get. And regardless of that, it was still not enough. This is when these gigantic corporations increased profits, the ones that hire all of the grocery store clerks, the ones that take advantage of, people driving around and delivering your groceries, Those are the people that made more money. Jeff Bezos personally put 13 billion additional dollars into his net worth in a single day. The American billionaires put more than $500 billion over the course of the past 4 months at a time when 40 million Americans have lost their jobs. When we have a gigantic mass eviction crisis, capitalists, capital owners, those at the top, those at the tippy top are making a tidy profit. They're killing it, even if the economy is getting smaller. That is by design. This is what the system is supposed to do. So excuse me if I'm not going to spend too much time on why unemployed people are getting $600 extra a month when they are staring down the barrel of the eviction crisis. Technically also extinction as a consequence of eviction. Trump was asked about unemployment insurance. Let's see what he had to say.
I think the Democrats are hoping to hear directly from you on what you support. Would you be willing to stop?
I think the Democrats don't care about the people of our country. They don't want to do what you should be doing for the people of our country, whether it's unemployment or anything else. And all they care about is the election. And they're going to lose the election. You see what's going on with the polls right now. I guess we just got one over 50%. Rasmussen just came out. You see what's going on. It is a disgrace that they're not negotiating, but they're only looking to play a political game. I happen to think it's a bad political game. I think it hurts them.
So here's the problem here. I would be interested in believing this if Democrats played like the Republicans do. If there was currently a blue administration that had power, that were holding office, and they wanted to give money, there is 0% chance Republicans would ever concede. There's no way. They'd be like, no, there's no amount of deregulation you can do that would allow me to offer these worker peasants $600 a week. Like, Trump truly does benefit from the additional unemployment payment because those people should not be evicted. Those people, if they get evicted, are not going to be very happy. That's on Trump. If those people can't survive, that's on Trump. He knows this. Republicans know this too. Now, in a cunning but very evil, manipulative way, Democrats could utilize this moment to destroy Donald Trump. Okay? To destroy Donald Trump and the Republican Party. They could by failing to cooperate, by failing to work with the Republican Party and knowing full well that all of the responsibility would be on the Republican Party, where all of these people who die would be on the Republican Party. Now, I'm not saying Democrats are not evil. They are. They certainly are. They're just not evil in that way. They're not cunning enough to engage in political football in this capacity. That's the reality. These guys are ready to concede on so much. Do I think that having a holding pattern in this circumstance and not budging, especially when it comes to the $600 extra unemployment compensation, is good? Absolutely.
You don't
I do.
love the spirit of justice.
I think it's good.
You love
this
your
is
father's
exactly
devil.
like when Democrats had a modicum of power over budget reconciliation bills where they forced the government to shut down. This is what I mean. They have the power influence right now.
You love your
Republicans
devil.
Ideologically do not care about the poor, the working poor, or the unemployed masses. But having said that, Democrats currently do have a bargaining chip, which is anything that happens right now, anything that has happened so far in the past 4 years, that's all on Trump. Yeah, we had 2 government shutdowns in 4 years, and those negotiations were not good. Those negotiations never ended with Democrats getting what they wanted, with a promise from Mitch McConnell that they were going to do what's right, and that never happened. My point is this. They are self-sabotaging. Republicans are self-sabotaging. Mitch McConnell, of course, as early as last hour said, Republicans tried several ways to extend unemployment benefits. Democrats blocked them all. We're refusing any more COVID relief for anyone unless they get a massive tax cut for rich people in blue states. The country can't afford this cynicism. America needs help now. I don't trust Mitch McConnell's sentiment or takes on this. I doubt that the hurdle right now is tax cuts for, in the eyes of Mitch McConnell, green energy companies. By the way, even if that was the case, even if they were looking for tax cuts for like green energy initiatives, renewable energy corporations, what the fuck? I mean, that's completely unacceptable regardless. But if they're looking for subsidies for green energy and renewable energy initiatives, corporations that engage in renewable energy, what? Just because you got yours originally with the fossil fuel industry, like Democrats are not allowed to advocate for it? And regardless of all of that, this needs to happen. This extension needs to happen. Mitch McConnell, in his own personal state, 51% of renters are looking at getting evicted. In his own state. That's crazy. How could you be so callous? But I guess just like the American voters that never ceased to shock me with how much cuckoldry that they can engage in, the Republicans never cease to shock me with how vulturous and immoral they can get.